Hello! We take for granted that the new year starts every January 1st. A fixed date and a day to celebrate and make resolutions that are rarely kept. The New Year's Day is a purely civic event. This means that it is a benchmark we use to calculate time. Time computing is essential for a properly functioning society. For practical reasons, January 1st has been adopted more or less all over the world as the beginning of the new year. However, not all countries celebrate New Year's Day on the aforementioned date. More on this later in our video. Before we see why January 1st is the first day of the year, don't forget to subscribe to Random History. New interesting videos are coming up. Why does the new year start on January 1st? Next on Random History. People did not always celebrate the new year on January 1st. The earliest recording of a celebration of the new year comes from Mesopotamia. It dates as early as 2000 BC. The event seems to have been taking place around the time of the spring equinox, which in the northern hemisphere falls around March 20. This day marks the beginning of spring, and night and day are of equal length. The ancient Egyptians, Phoenicians and Persians, on the other hand, had chosen the autumn equinox as the onset of the new year. The ancient Greeks celebrated the beginning of the year on the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, around December 21. The Romans seem to be the originators of the idea of using January 1st to mark the beginning of the year. Yet, the way we count years today, from the birth of Jesus Christ, was invented much later. We have made a video on that, which is going to pop up right after the end of this one. Do not miss it. January has not always been the first month of the Roman calendar. Initially, it was March. According to tradition, King Numa Pompilius is credited with the revision of the Roman calendar. He added the month of January, with which he replaced March as the first month. It was a befitting choice. January has taken its name from the two-faced god Janus. He was the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. March, on the other hand, was named for the Roman god of war, Mars. This was the time of the year to resume military campaigns that had been interrupted by winter. But January, as the first month of the calendar, was officially recognized only centuries after the death of Numa. March continued to be an important month in the Roman calendar even after the overthrow of the Roman kingdom and the establishment of the Roman Republic in 509 BC. The highest elected political office in the Republic was that of consul. Roman dates were customarily kept according to the names of the two consuls who took office that year. Two consuls were elected each year and took office on the 15th of March. This changed in the year 153 BC. A rebellion had erupted in the province of Hispania, modern-day Spain. Expecting a long war, the Senate decided for the first time that the election of the consuls would take place on January 1st instead of March 15. The change was made permanent after that. Thus, from then on, the year officially changed on the 1st of January. The Roman calendar was not very precise. As a result, additional days had to be added each year to remedy for its inaccuracy. This created great confusion. By the 1st century BC, the calendar had fallen in disarray. It was Julius Caesar, with the consultation of the Greek astronomer Sosigenes of Alexandria, who introduced the new Julian calendar. The revised calendar was considerably more exact. January 1st was retained as the year's opening date. With the expansion of the Roman Empire, the use of the Julian calendar also spread. The Roman Empire officially fell in the year 476 AD. Romulus, the last of the Roman emperors in the west, was overthrown by the Germanic leader Odoacer. He was the first barbarian to rule over Rome. With the rise of Christianity, many Christian countries altered their calendar so that it was more reflective of their religion. Some chose March the 25th, which is the Feast of Annunciation, as the first day of the year. Others opted for Christmas on December the 25th. By the way, if you want to learn why Christmas is celebrated on December the 25th, you can find the link to our relative video in the description below. Anyhow, it later became clear that the Julian calendar was not without its faults. Additional changes were required in order to correct a minor miscalculation by the part of its creators. Pope Gregory XIII stepped in and in 1582 introduced a revised calendar. The Gregorian calendar was created. Apart from correcting for the drift of the older Julian calendar, it restored January 1st as the start of the new year. Catholic countries such as Spain, France and Italy adopted the new calendar almost immediately. Its acceptance by Protestant and Orthodox countries came a lot later. In the 20th century, non-Christian countries such as China chose to adopt the Gregorian calendar. The last country to adopt it was Saudi Arabia in 2016. Timekeeping is indispensable for a society to function efficiently. Imagine now giving an appointment to someone who measures time in a different way than you. Good luck with that meeting. In a globalized world like the one we live in today, it is important to measure time in more or less the same way. Thus, international trade, communications and relations in general, which are at times chaotic, can be effectively orchestrated. So for practical reasons, the Gregorian calendar was adopted by almost all countries. Therefore, the year starts on January 1st. Nevertheless, not all countries celebrate the New Year's Day on that date. The Gregorian calendar is a solar calendar. Time is calculated based on the position of the sun in the sky with respect to stars that appear to have fixed positions. Older, traditional calendars are often lunar calendars. They are based on the monthly cycles of the phases of the moon. The Gregorian calendar is in common and legal use in most countries. Yet, traditional lunar calendars continue to be used throughout the world to determine religious festivals and national holidays. Countries that celebrate the beginning of the year on a date different than January 1st include India, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Oman, South and North Korea, and of course, China. The Chinese New Year is also called Lunar New Year, underlining the fact that the dates of celebration follow the phases of the moon. A 15-day festival takes place in China and Chinese communities all over the world. Its date is not fixed. The beginning is marked by the new moon that occurs sometime between January the 21st and February 20. Festivities end with the next full moon. And this was the story behind why the New Year starts on January 1st. How is the New Year celebrated in your country? We would love to read about local traditions in the comments below. Stick around for a few more seconds because a couple of videos are going to pop up that might interest you. If you feel so inclined, please like, share and subscribe in order not to miss out on our future videos. Until the next time, keep learning!